Lost Woods Radio, a podcast where two friends do their best to detail every game in the Legend of Zelda series from memory. I'm Ellie, along with my co-host Silver, and today's game is Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. So this one is an interesting one for me because I've played about 10 minutes of this game. I know very, very little about it. It was one where I tried it and I was like, this isn't for me, and then never touched it again. So, yeah.
This is interesting. I finished this one before I finished the Legend of Zelda. We briefly talked about it in the first episode. I am also probably one of like the only triple-digit number of individuals in the world that really enjoyed this game. But it's very different from every other Legend of Zelda for a very long time, and that's totally okay. Like they wanted to do something different. They wanted to try innovating on the ideas while keeping a lot of the same high-level feel.
Yeah.
For me, I think I enjoyed it so much. Like, I'm a huge Metroidvania fan, and if you look at this, that's really what this is.
Yes.
To the point where it's almost, I need to look up the dates. I am going to look up just the dates for
cheat.
Well, not for Zelda. For Simon's Quest on Castlevania. I think these things released within like literal months of one another.
Oh, that's wild.
And they're very, very similar games. Yeah, Castlevania 2 was like mid-1987, and I believe this was early 1987. Mm-hmm. And so they're very, very, very similar games. The biggest difference is that they kept like the overworld map to play a lot more like a classical Zelda, although from look and feel is a little bit different. But you have random encounters. Well, we'll get into that in a second. But like the way that this game plays, I had a lot of fun with. It's very hard. It's extremely hard.
Yeah, as like a teenager, I was like, I don't have time for this, and went on to something else instead. You know, like I just didn't have the patience to play it, and maybe I'll go back to it one day, but it was not for me when I first tried it. So
I'm not going to say it's an amazing game, right? But it's actually, if you come to it on its terms, and it's the fact that it's trying to be what is now a Metroidvania, which at the time was like, hey, we're trying to do something new. It very much is a pretty good one of those. There's a leveling system. There's experience. You go and get items that let you go into other places. In Metroidvania, less like a Zelda, and it's interesting in that concept. And I had a lot of fun with it back in the day. Like I definitely finished it before I finished The Legend of Zelda, especially because I felt like with the towns and everything in this one giving you guidance, you had more direction on where you could go if you understood the weird, slightly poor translation of what the people were saying.
See, you're speaking my language now, and now I'm like, maybe with the Switch's like rewind system and save point system, maybe I should give it another go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, cheese the heck out of it, because there are some things that are just outright unfair, or you do what I did back then, is you go out-level them. But yeah, I think with context, and maybe even with, if you have like a hint guide or whatnot that you use, I think people nowadays would actually probably have a lot of fun with this game compared to what it was back then. But it was a tremendous jump from The Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Completely different game style, in terms of what was available, like at the time. It was just something totally different, wasn't it? So
it was also
if you
titled
came
weird.
out of the first game expecting more of the same and then got that, I could see why people would be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, it requires a different skill set than the original Legend of Zelda did.
Yes.
Like the platform, Link can jump. Link couldn't jump again for decades after this. They got so scared of Link jumping, they just didn't let you do it.
Too much freedom.
Mm-hmm. The jump's not very good, but learning that is a very different skill set than anyone that ever played the Legend of Zelda. It's interesting, but that's my history with it.
Nice. So, Silver, maybe you can fill us in on the events of the game then, seeing as I know nothing.
Yeah. So this one, I always found this very interesting. So for those that have seen the first episode, I messed up saying that it was the first appearance, or was not the first appearance of Impa, because I was very firm in my belief that this is the first appearance of Impa. So Link, in the manual, they say like, hey, Link has a weird triangle that shows up on his hand all of a sudden. And this is the same Link from the first one, which is actually a thing that's not done very often in this series. And he goes to meet with Impa. Is like, hey, what the hell is this? What is going on? He's told the tale of the Triforce, right? Like, hey, the Triforce of Power. And is told to, like, hey, you got to go figure this other stuff out. The other thing is interesting is, like, he's told, hey, that there is this cursed maiden, also called Zelda, not the Zelda from the first game, that is eternally cursed, and you need to go figure out if you can help her.
Wait, so we're gonna get slightly ahead, but we'll come back to this. But like, this is immediately after the first game, right?
Well, I think a few years later, because like they call out that he's now 16, which makes me wonder how the hell old was he when in the first game?
He was a baby, just a little boy.
Little 13-year-old Link saving the world. I mean, look, that's probably not that far off from Wind Waker.
Yeah, because like you'd think, I mean, Link isn't the brightest, is he? Like, you'd think that having collected all the pieces of one piece of the Triforce and then knowing that Ganon has another piece, he'd be like, wow, a third piece is appearing on my hand, but no.
Yeah, they don't go into detail on it. I think, if I remember right, like the biggest thing at that point was no one had heard realistically that the Triforce of Courage was a thing that existed. Right?
Okay.
It was like ancient myth, right? So like people maybe have heard of the Triforce of Power or Triforce of Wisdom, but the Triforce of Courage was not a thing that made sense. So this is all, like, everything around this other Zelda is weird. Her brother in ancient times, like not betrayed the family, but like tried to force her into telling him where the Triforce was, or where the secrets of the Triforce was, because now I'm going off of really sketchy memory from the manual. There was an ancient king that told this ancient Zelda about the Triforce. The prince wanted to know about that power. Zelda refused. The prince had a friend who was also a magician. I think they specifically use the term magician in the manual, and like ends up cursing her, and she gets put into a sleeping spell. The friend couldn't control the magic, and like he gets killed. Not the prince, the wizard, or like the magician, which I very specifically am keyed in on the word magician, so I'm pretty sure that's what they refer to in the manual. So the prince like says, oh shit, this is not what I wanted, and like throws her into this castle tower that she might one day be awakened. And this establishes, like, the prince as remorse says, hey, every princess from now on is named Zelda. Period. That's the law.
So, interesting.
Yeah. In remembrance of his, like, folly, I guess is the way they put it in.
Okay.
So Link gets told, hey, this symbol is supposed to be related to that curse somehow. You need to go figure out what the hell's going on. So the game like starts, you're in this tower, and there's a sleeping Zelda in the background. Again, not the Zelda from the first game, which is weird, but hey, that's a thing that happens pretty frequently in this series. Although I think this might be the only time where there's two Zeldas existing at the same time.
That's muddy though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like technically,
well, and then there's a bunch of time travel shenanigans too. But
yeah, technically, there's like imitations and stuff, and
so I can't remember what she gives him, but she gives him like a bunch of stuff that he has to try and go across the world to unlock something that's supposed to help stop the spell. I don't think he knows what it is necessarily. Oh no, wait. No, I don't think he knows what it is. I don't think he realizes it's the Triforce of Courage until he gets there. Is my memory? I could be wrong on that. Okay, so Ganon's remnants of his army are still pissed off at Link. They want to use his dead body to bring Ganon back to life, I think.
Interesting.
Then you make your way on. You go through all of these different palaces, is what they're called. They're not temples in this one. And you make your way to the quote-unquote Great Palace. You find the goddamn Triforce of Courage. But you got to make your way through there, and you have to fight your doppelganger, Dark Link.
Oh.
Which that fight is, and then you get the Triforce of Courage and go back to Zelda, Sleeping Zelda, and it reunites with the other two pieces of Triforce. It becomes the actual Triforce, and makes a wish, right? Because a lot of the things that they turn on and off about the Triforce is that the Triforce supposedly grants a wish if you have it all together.
Yeah. Grants the holder of the full Triforce their greatest desires, I believe, is like the way that they've kind of solidified it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's supposed to like give them power to do whatever they want, which at one point was a wish, and it gets kind of muddied a little bit, but
yeah.
And it wakes up that Zelda, and then they smooch.
Oh.
And the curtain falls down, and that's the end of the game. Why? I don't know.
Why?
She's rewarding him for reawakening her probably thousands of years later. I don't look.
I can't imagine being asleep for thousands of years and being like, oh, this boy just woke me up. Guess I'll kiss him now. Like,
I'm sure, like, there's no narrative there that I remember. There's no text or anything. But I'm sure, like, Link probably explains to her everything that happens and what he went through. But, like, I don't. They kiss. And that is my memory of The Legend of Zelda 2. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. We actually just had a conversation about that before this episode of like, it's actually just called Zelda 2, which is weird. But they didn't have like a titling idea or anything at that point.
Well, yeah, so. I guess they didn't know that there was going to be 40 years worth of games coming afterwards, did they? So, yeah. Well, that's, as somebody who hasn't played that game and knows very little about it, that sure is a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I mean, from the perspective of like a lot of that, everything up to like Link leaving to do the palaces, that's all in the manual, right? I don't think there's even a scroll in the beginning of Zelda 2. I think it's just all like the introductory stuff in the manual. I just remember the art in the manual really strongly. And so I remember reading through that a bunch of times.
Yeah, I forget that manuals used to be like so vital for gaining
full color
just
and
any
dialogue.
kind of information about what you were playing.
I mean, in Metroid, if you read the manual, you knew Samus Aran was a lady. Like, you knew that. It was a surprise to people at the end of the game because people didn't read the manual.
Yeah, that's... I get why people are not a fan of Zelda 2, but it sounds interesting. It feels like it's got that Dark Souls 2 problem, you know, where it's like, oh, it's not the first game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the second one, you know?
Yeah, it's a very different take.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess on to the next segment, what are the first appearances of things? Because, like, I don't really know what's in it. I guess we already talked about the Double Zelda stuff and Triforce of Courage. Is there any items that are new or only appear in that game?
Items is nope, candle. I was going to say maybe you get the lantern in this one. Nope, the candle is this one. The candle is actually super important early on. What else would be in there? I know Dark Nuts were in this game first.
I love Dark Nuts.
Yep. There's like 4 of them. And I don't remember what their names are, but the dudes that are horsemen, like they have horse heads.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, they're not centaurs. They are men that have horse heads. I want to say they were also in one of the Oracle games.
I don't think I know what these are.
We'll look that up afterwards. Actually, no, I don't know that I can because that might be wrong. What else was there? This is me being wrong. This is me saying that I was wrong. I always thought this game also has a bunch of spider enemies. I always thought that this was the origination of the Skulltulas, and it is not.
Tektites?
Say again?
Tektites? Or...
Nope, they're not even Tektites. I think they're literally just spiders.
Oh.
I think they're literally just called spiders. I thought they were the origin of the Skulltulas because they come down from the top of the ceiling and like dangle on their threads. And like that seems exactly like what a Skulltula would be, but I don't remember. I very remember looking up in the past whether they were called that or not. I think they're literally just called spiders.
Oh.
And what else was in there? I know. Come on, brain.
We know that it was the first appearance of jumping.
Yes, definitely the first appearance of jumping. I think this was the first appearance. I don't think it was used the same way, but I think this was the first appearance of the hammer. I very, very strictly remember picking up a hammer, but I don't think it was used as like a weapon. I think it was just used to like open certain things.
Well, hammers have been used for all sorts of different like mechanics, haven't they?
Yes.
In Zelda, so
it's definitely the first appearance of hammer because there wasn't one in the first one.
Is it the only time that Link smooches someone in the game?
In the game.
In the game specifically.
In the game. Doesn't he get a peck on the cheek by Tetra?
I don't remember.
We'll have to figure that out when we get to the Wind Waker episode.
I don't think so. I only just played Wind Waker as well.
Yeah. Or maybe that was in Phantom Hourglass. But I mean, it's very possible because I know how mad I was at the end of Skyward Sword because they didn't get to kiss. Like of all of the games where Link and Zelda have at least hints of romantic interest, that one was the strongest, and they don't get to kiss. Man,
she has responsibilities now. No kissing allowed.
I guess. Yeah, you got a job. You can't have love anymore.
That's how it works, right?
Man,
employment or love, like either or.
Man. Potions were in one, so that doesn't count. I think that might be it. I think it might be the hammer. There was a glove in that one. There wasn't a glove in one, right?
I don't know.
Was there?
I'm relying on your knowledge here.
You're right.
Not to be like, I don't know, but I don't know.
I think we will look this up because I'm going to lose my mind otherwise. I think Zelda 2 is the first appearance of the glove.
Strong hands kind of glove?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or like the power glove, depending on which game you're talking about. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
I mean, I just call it strong hands anyway. Like, doesn't matter what it is. Bracelets, gloves, earrings, it's strong hand.
Yeah.
Gives you strong hands, therefore named strong hands.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other stuff that I think was only in this one. There was like a pair of boots you could get, and I think it literally just lets you walk on water. I guess
kind of like the hover boots, kind of.
Yeah. This was for crossing parts of the world map that you couldn't normally.
Kind of like the hover boots.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's the only game that technically has a world map. I mean, the world map is mostly just like the overworld, so that doesn't count. It's definitely the only game where Link gets invited into a house by a woman saying, "Come in here, I will help you relax," and then your health gets refilled. I don't know if that was a translation thing or not. Like, they don't imply anything, but they kind of imply some things.
Well, it is notorious for its translation,
yes,
right?
I am
like
error.
It's the one that's like the quote unquote worst translated version.
Yeah, and if I remember right, some of that was because of memory limits. They had to do a bunch of weird stuff to make it even like display English. But yeah, and so definitely the first appearance of Dark Link. The origination of Dark Link is from this. I think there was a fan theory a long time saying that like every version of Dark Link is actually just this Dark Link over again. I don't know that I've ever believed that. But yeah, so the first appearance of Dark Link, technically Ganon doesn't actually show up in this game because he's dead.
Yeah.
But you do see him on the game over screen because if you die, they take your body and use it to resurrect Ganon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Oh, you know what? We didn't even talk about any of the music stuff in the first game. I do not believe there's any music that's recurring from the Legend or Zelda 2. I think everything that's in Zelda 2 is either a redone thing from Zelda 1 or is never used again throughout the rest of the series. Wow. I think Kakariko. This is the first appearance of Kakariko Village.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
one of the villages are named like it's spelled wrong, but it's meant to be Kakariko. I think that's all of the things that I can remember as being first. So again, I would have been wrong. I would have said Impa was the first time she appeared in this one, but that was wrong. Oh, the other game that this is very similar to, other than Simon's Quest, maybe even more so than Simon's Quest, was a game called Faxanadu, which is a later NES game. But it's more like Faxanadu really liked Legend of Zelda 2, or Zelda 2, and so it was very similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's everything I can think of.
Yeah, sorry, I can't be more helpful on this one. Like I say, I literally
right.
played it for 10 minutes and I was like, this is really difficult. And
Again,
then
these early episodes are going to be
moved on.
relatively easy. There's not a ton of lore. Surprisingly, there's a ton of lore in the manual on this one, but not a ton of like interactions other than Link getting smooched. It's an interesting game. I like it. I don't love it, but I think it is very much. It's an important game in video game history, and it is because it inspired a lot of other stuff. And for The Legend of Zelda itself, there's a lot of things that actually eventually come from here. Like we all know Dark Nuts now. Like they're in tons of stuff. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? There are some Dark Nuts in the later games that have horse heads too.
Really?
Or like horse-styled helmets.
Yes.
Yeah, in because like there's those weird guys in Wind Waker that are Dark Nuts, but they have the weird long heads.
Trying to think what the helmets are. I thought that they were like Catmen.
Yeah, I think those are supposed to be like whatever the heck the horse head men are called.
Well, they have like the Spartan like rough on the helmet type shape, don't they? Which is typically kind of Roman-esque. Like it kind of looks horse mane-ish. Like it's not like fur or like brush. It's still like part of the helmet, but even in like Twilight Princess, they have that like mane type shape on the helmet, don't they? So that makes sense.
I'm be interested to see. We are going to look up if those horse heads appear in any other game, but because I could have sworn.
Yeah, I'm like racking my brains trying to think.
I also want to know what their names are because I can only remember like their horse head armor knights, and I don't remember what their names are. But like Iron Knuckles.
We can kind of look it up now because like where does it fit on the timeline is the next segment.
It's
and
the second. Yeah, it's the second game.
So,
yeah, it's the second game. Wait, oh gosh. Let me think here. Are Dark Nuts and Iron Knuckles different?
I don't think so. I think they're the same thing.
I think in Zelda 2, they're explicitly called in the credits or whatnot when they show all that stuff is they're Iron Knuckles. I think that's the official name for them in that one. Now I'm going to feel really, really foolish if that ends up not being true and they are Dark Nuts, but I'm pretty sure they're Iron Knuckles.
Okay, so I just Googled Zelda horse head enemies. Horsehead Mazura is the boss of Parappa Palace, the first dungeon.
Right.
So it's just like a knight with a horse's head.
Right.
So they're not enemies.
Oh, it's just the boss. It is a singular
just
horse
one
head.
is a boss, yeah.
Yep. Does he appear anywhere else? Am I losing my mind?
Apparently may have been in a TV show.
Oh, he was in Captain N?
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he's in literally anything else.
Say, that's how this goes.
The Adventure of Link Strategy Guide. It's got the sprite. There's some concept art. Games only in the Adventure of Link. So
this is fantastic. Before we look at anything else, I want to make sure this is right, but I'm pretty sure that there's these weird like crawling dinosaur things that they're considering Zora.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in this one they were called Zora, but they were like on all fours crawling around when you fight them. And I always found that like, why are they?
I'm looking at the list now. Oh my god, they are. They've got like the little frills next to their face, like, but they crawl around. Interesting. There's also something called a river devil in that game.
The river devil, yeah, that's a little like jumping dude that jumps up out of the water. It's very weird. They look like
guy.
If you ever played Super Mario World 2, the Yoshi's Island,
Yes.
You
Again,
know
a
the
very
big
long time
like
ago.
the touch fuzzy get dizzy.
Yes.
They look like the fuzzy dudes from that.
So apparently, there are iron knuckles and no dark nuts.
Oh well, okay. I
Other way
technically
around,
corrected myself, so
yeah.
I'll take that. So no dark nuts, huh?
I mean, there's
Are
all
iron knuckles
sorts.
something different from dark nut then?
I don't know. I'm gonna to the internet. I was like, are iron knuckles? And it suggested illegal.
I mean, the answer is depends on your state, but yes.
Iron knuckles are tougher than dark nuts, apparently,
Okay.
but they're clearly meant to be similar. Iron knuckles are depicted as slow-moving, dark nuts are agile knights. So they're technically the same thing, but different. They are dark nuts with a different name. Dark nuts are more common than iron knuckle. Because like there's a boss in Twilight Princess that is also referred to as dark nut, right? And it's technically an iron knuckle because it's slow moving. So yeah. But yeah, like looking at this list, like there is all sorts in this game that I don't know if it appears anywhere else. Link gets a cross apparently as a magic item.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I missed that, but yes, I forgot about that. What
You can do
the
a
cross was
thunder
letting
spell.
you. The cross let you see enemies that were invisible, if I remember right.
Oh, so like the lens of truth, but
Yeah.
more religious, I guess.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
You could also get a points bag, which I'm guessing is related to the leveling system.
Points bag.
Yeah.
Oh, the treasure bag is probably what they mean because it has a P on it.
Side quest item, kidnapped child.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah. In one of the towns, some lady asks you to go save her kid, and it's it looks like a toad without a hat.
Yes, it's been taken away into a cave in the southern half of Maze Island. The child's mother, an elderly woman who lives in the mountain town of Darunia,
Heck
has
yeah,
been worried
Darunia.
sick. Interesting. Oh, that's how you get the reflect spell, apparently. But yes, the kidnapped child is a pickup item in Zelda 2, The Adventure
Zelda
of
2 is
Link.
the first appearance of magic.
So maybe this is the first time and only time a kidnapped child is an item.
Yeah, as a usable item. There's been more kidnapped children, especially in the recent games. But
yeah, but can you pick them up and put them in your pocket?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Look, maybe he has a shrink spell. We don't know. We don't know. Man, yeah, I forgot how much you get unique spells in this. So yes, this would be the origination of spells in later Zelda games.
Interesting.
All right.
Oh, there's the town of Ruto and the water town of Saria.
Yes,
So I guess
all of
that's probably
the
gonna be,
sages are based off of the names from Zelda 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there's a lot of names I'm recognizing in this. So mountain town of Darunia, town of Naboru. Yeah. That's cool. So there's like a good foundation for where names and things were pulled from.
Yep.
Interesting. Oh, the magician is the scary looking purple guy. I see now. I've seen this guy.
The magician. He is the magician, right? Am I hallucinating?
Yeah, he's in he looks like he's wearing a big sheet,
Okay.
but it's purple. Yeah. This is wild. Just browsing this Zelda dungeon page. It's great.
I'm writing some notes here.
Yeah, there's all sorts in here. And it's really difficult to tell like what is carried forwards because like the Geru look like Lizalfos, but they're called Geru. So maybe they're different. I don't know, but they've got like little maces and shields and stuff. So yeah.
Starting to doubt myself now that I'm thinking about all the town names.
Why?
I think all the town names might just be sages.
Yes. Yeah, there's
I don't think Kakariko. I think I think Kakariko might be actually in Link to the Past and not in this one.
There is the graveyard. There's Death Mountain Graveyard, Harbor Town of Mido. We know that Mido is a Kokiri later. King's Tomb, Midoro Swamp, Moruge Swamp, Parappa Desert, Tantari Desert, Town of Rauru, Town of Ruto, Water Town of Saria. So those 3 are sages.
Okay.
And then there's Hidden Town of Kasuto, Mountain Town of Darunia, Town of Naboru. So Darunia and Naboru also both sages. So
I was wrong. I firmly remember one of the towns being like Kakariko, and it was like not spelt right, but I must be remembering something else.
I mean, it might be Kasuto, Hidden Town of Kasuto.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's Secret Village. So,
Secret Village.
Yeah. But as with all these old games, who knows? Could be anything.
That's why we're talking about this stuff. All right. Well, I got it wrong. That's okay. I need to now pull up the right thing for us to do ranking. Above or below The Legend of Zelda?
I will put it below because I played less of it.
Totally fine. Well, timeline-wise, it's definitely after The Legend of Zelda, so that's an easy one. We said that already.
Yeah,
so
immediately afterwards. Well, immediately in the Zelda timeline sense, like it's the same people.
It's a few years later.
So
yeah. Same Impa, same Link. Other Zelda's still there, not part of this game.
I guess it's maybe that's worth calling out as well, that like that doesn't happen very often.
No,
in
yeah,
Zelda
we were talking
games.
earlier. Like, it's very rare. So it's not only is it very rare for there to be a game that includes the same character as a playable character, right? We'll get to it eventually, but like you have your Wind Waker to Phantom Hourglass, sure. You have Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, but that's like this is
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That's like it. Essentially,
out of 40 some odd games, or 35 some odd games, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, there are instances where they're rare, but there are instances where characters from previous games show up. They're not playable or whatnot. We'll get to Twilight Princess eventually and get to talk about what that means.
Twilight Princess, my beloved.
Yeah. But even stuff like Tingle, and that's a whole another conversation.
Yeah, I'm so interested to start talking about Tingle and his iterations because, like, why?
Look, somebody... there are a lot of people that love Tingle, and the way that he came about is such a wild thing, and like in the various games. Such a weird thing. All right, so I have, for me, I do enjoy this. This is going to make a lot of people mad. I enjoy this more than I like the original Legend of Zelda.
I don't think I'll make people mad. If you're mad about it, then...
I'm not saying that it is a better game than the original Legend of Zelda. I am saying that as far as playing it...
this is a personal ranking.
Yeah, as far as playing it, if I had to choose to play one of them... Also, I've beaten The Legend of Zelda 1 substantially more times than I've beaten Zelda 2, even though I beat Zelda 2 first. If I were to choose one to have to play right now, I would probably play Zelda 2 over the original one. Also, just because, like, the formula on the original Zelda there's been better. It's been done better multiple times in the series since then. I don't know that they're ever going to retouch the Zelda 2 style of gameplay.
Yeah.
They have not given Link levels ever again. So, and that's fun. Like that type of advancement is very different and very fun from a perspective.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, in that case, I guess we should close out this episode.
Yeah.
This has been a fun one because I feel like I've learned a lot. Even though I've like pored over the Hyrule Historia and things like that, I feel like I didn't quite appreciate how much new stuff was in Zelda 2 that is then carried forwards. I feel like I've learned a lot about the history of the franchise today, kind of by accident.
It'll take at least 2 decades before Link's knees work again.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. Definitely not like the best, but it is an interesting one to take a look at. If you are listening to this and have not played Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, I think give it a shot. Go in with cheats. If it's too hard, like there's nothing wrong with that. Go in with save states like Ellie was mentioning. Go in with a walkthrough. It is, again, as it does expect you to level, it's rough at the beginning because you can get messed up, but you can overcome that. And it's a good time.
Nice. Well, I guess we should talk about the next game as well.
Yeah.
Which I believe is A Link to the Past, unless
We're doing release order, right?
Release order, yeah.
I have that. Yes, A Link to the Past is the next game.
Which, thankfully, I played for the first time very recently.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have played that game.
So that'll be the next episode. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.